This podcast episode is brought to you by Living Life from Within, How to Get What You Want in Life. It's my uplifting guide full of inspiration to help you transcend life challenges and tap into your inner strength and divine compass. Are you seeking to unlock the abundant blessings awaiting for you? Look no further. Dive into the transformative pages of my book, where you'll learn how I was able to connect with the divine as my ultimate source and how you can do the same. You will not only learn to recognize the whispers of your inner voice, but also harness the power to manifest your deepest desires. Within the pages of my book, you'll be guided towards a deeper understanding of how to align your life with the divine flow of abundance. Let this book be your gateway to a life filled with purpose, fulfillment, and unwavering faith. Get ready to be blessed, informed, inspired, and transformed like never before. Don't miss out on this life-changing opportunity. Purchase your copy, and while you're at it, a copy for someone else you may think benefit from the book as well. Living Life from Within, How to Get What You Want in Life. To purchase your copy, simply click the link in the podcast show notes. Hi there, beautiful soul. Do yourself a favor by taking care of you. My dear friend Laura at Marietta Day Spa in beautiful Marietta, California, is a licensed holistic massage therapist. If you're a local resident looking to recharge, relax, and reconnect with your body, this is your go-to oasis. Be sure to ask for Laura. She's not only my personal massage therapist, but a true expert in holistic wellness with over 19 years of experience in all massage modalities. With years of experience, she has a gift for helping you feel renewed from the inside out. Marietta Day Spa is located at 41885 Ivy Street, Marietta, California. You can call 951-677-8111 and book your session with Laura today. Tell her Katrina from the Katrina Johnson Show sent you, and thank me later. I'd like to take a moment to speak with you about BetterHelp, a sponsor of the Katrina Johnson Show. You know, I'm big on inspiring people to live their best lives, but sometimes we need a little more than words of inspiration. When mental health interferes with your daily routine and lifestyle, you need someone to confide in that can help you with sorting through your emotions. That's exactly what BetterHelp is all about. It's professional therapy done securely online and is available to clients worldwide. With BetterHelp, you can get your needs assessed and be matched with your own licensed professional therapist. You can log in to your account anytime and send a message to your therapist. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you won't have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room as with traditional therapy. It's more affordable than traditional offline therapy, and financial aid is available. Remember, living your best life begins with taking care of your mental health. BetterHelp, a sponsor of the Katrina Johnson Show, wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit betterhelp.com/KJ Show. That's BetterHelp, HELP, and join the over 500,000 people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. And here's a special offer for the Katrina Johnson Show listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/KJ Show. Welcome back to the Katrina Johnson Show, a safe place for women healing from childhood trauma, and where information plus inspiration equals transformation. Today, we're diving into a powerful new stage play that explores friendship, family, forgiveness, and the ghosts of our past. Now, at the recording of this podcast, I had not seen the play, but I did see the play after I did the interview, and let me tell you, it was off the chain. So I hope you guys are blessed by this episode. The play that I'm speaking of is called A Girl's Guilt Trip, and it follows Yolanda and Roberta, two childhood friends who, despite living picture-perfect lives, find their worlds turned upside down by tragedy. As they pursue their lifelong dream of visiting the pyramids in Egypt, they're forced to confront old wounds and discover what it really takes to heal and move forward. This isn't just a story for the stage, it's a mirror for so many of us who've struggled with relationships, loss, and the courage it takes to let go. So, whether you're navigating the challenges of forgiveness, holding on to a dream you've tucked away, or simply need a reminder of the strength that comes from connection, today's conversation is for you. Let's welcome our special guests, Alretha Thomas, the creative mind behind A Girl's Guilt Trip, and her supporting actor, Marlynne Frierson Cooley. Alretha Thomas is an actress, playwright, and author who began her career after graduating from USC with a degree in journalism. In the mid-'80s, she landed in agent-booked roles in soap operas and independent films and earned an NAACP Best Actress nomination for her stage work. Stepping away from acting for over 2 decades to focus on her healing journey, she went on to write more than a dozen books and produce multiple plays. In 2016, she returned to acting full-time, and in 2020, she landed the role of Anastasia Devereaux on Tyler Perry's Assisted Living, a dream come true. Since then, she has appeared in short films, soap operas, and commercials, with 2 films on the horizon. Follow her on Instagram at @athomasforreal. Marlynne Frierson Cooley is an actress, voiceover artist, and producer from Cleveland, now based in California. You've seen her in shows like This Is Us, Bless This Mess, and Netflix Daddy Stop Embarrassing Me, and in films including Trade on Amazon Prime. She's also an award-winning short film producer and the voice of the conspiracy mother on the hit podcast My Mama Told Me. You can follow her on Instagram at Marlynne Cooley or via email at joyfulhearttheater@yahoo. Well, I have 2 special guests with me today on the Katrina Johnson Show. I have Alretha Thomas and Marlynne Frierson Cooley. They are here to talk about A Girl's Guilt Trip, their play that just actually started last night. So on Friday, and this play will be running through, I believe, October 26th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we are here to talk about A Girl's Guilt Trip, and I want to just dive right in if you all are ready to go. Tell us first, tell the audience what they can, not what they can expect, but what is the play all about?
Well, the play is about 2 women, Roberta and Yolanda. They're lifelong friends. They met in the 2nd grade, and they bonded in the 2nd grade when Yolanda had an accident and wet her pants in the 2nd grade, and they found out their birthdays were the 4th of July, and they became, as said in the play, soul twins, and they did everything in life together, and they had this perfect lives until, Roberta's husband passes away unexpectedly, and that's when things go left, and their lives aren't the same. You have to imagine these are 2 women who are upper middle class and went to nursing school, and they have these great husbands and daughters and lives in a great neighborhood, and they just were not used to something tragic like this happen, and it took a toll on all of them, and so they're trying to navigate their new normal, and, when the play begins, Roberta and Yolanda are destitute, homeless, and trying to, realize their lifelong dream, and that is to go see the pyramids in Egypt, and not only do they have to overcome the financial obstacles, but they have to overcome the hurt and resentment and ghosts of their past to make this happen.
Wow. Wow, that sounds really, really something that people can relate to. Even the wetting the pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is something that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. So we're talking friendship and loyalty. The play centers on a lifelong friendship, as you said, between Yolanda and Roberta. So, in your experience, what makes friendship last or break when life gets hard? 'Cause I know personally, sometimes people go different directions. And personally, I've had people in my life that I thought were going to be lifelong friends. And then something happened. So I have to say, okay, maybe that was just for a season.
I'm gonna let Marlon answer that. You go ahead, Marlon.
Well, we have life challenges, and as you know, life challenges.
things happen. And with our relationship, we have been friends basically all our lives. Things just started changing after Tim passed away, and I also got married again to Lloyd. When you come to the play, you'll find out more. But Lloyd wasn't the best husband, and it changed our lives. Roberta and Yolanda were trying to deal what was going on in our lives and what was happening to me. And for a little while, we kind of lost communication because again, when Tim died. But all I can say is that you got to come see the play. I don't want to give too much away. No, no, you don't have to give too much away, but it sounds like things happen in our lives that will cause a little separation, death
Yes.
of a loved one, especially a mate. And the fact that when people remarry, maybe the friendship dynamic may change because, this person is new in the relationship. And so, yeah, I get that. That is
You made the statement about people come in your life for a season, and they say that people come in for, your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and I can relate to that, because I had a friend that we met in acting school, in acting class, and we were good friends and for many, many years. And it seems though when I got married, she wasn't married, things started to unravel in our relationship. And as close as we were and as long as we were together, I still can't believe that we don't have a relationship today. So I do believe that people come into your life for season and reason and lifetime. Marlynne and I, on a personal level, we met over 30 years ago. I met her when she was in a play, and we talked and we dealt with each other, and then we were away from each other for gosh, over 20 years. And then we met again at a mutual friend's memorial. And so now we're back together again.
Mhm,
So people can come out of your life and come back in your life. And
mhm,
as she said, in the case of Roberta and Yolanda, their relationship began to unravel because every time Yolanda would see Roberta, it reminded her of that Tim was gone. It reminded her of that they didn't have the perfect life anymore. So she started distancing herself. And so you're right. My aunt even told me after my uncle passed away, people didn't want to be around her because she was sad all the time. So there are these situations that arise in life that will cause people to separate, the relationship to dissipate, if you will.
right. And
Right.
I want to make a note again, sometimes even when you're aging, when you get older, as people get older, sometimes people don't want to be around you. Or when you get sick, especially when you get sick, people don't want to be around you. But I do want to say, Aretha, we also saw each other when we were on an audition for the commercial. You remember that commercial?
Oh yeah, I remember that. We
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
And it was like, and I kept
And I
looking.
think we exchanged numbers then, and we said,
Yes,
"Let's,"
yes.
and we were trying to call each other more. That's right, you're right.
Yes, I did because I really, really remember that. That was a really
I
good,
do, I remember that. Yeah, we did.
yeah,
We
great
did. Yeah.
audition. Yes. I think that just probably, I would say, a divine reconnection to bring you guys.
It was definitely a divine reconnection.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
do believe that.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about family and forgiveness. Forgiveness is so big, and I did a podcast episode a couple of years ago on this topic, and it was very, very hot
Mhm.
because a lot of people don't agree with forgiveness, meaning they want to hold on to, or let me say, maybe don't know how to forgive, and they hold on to onto unforgiveness, and not knowing that once they forgive, it frees them. So, forgiveness being such a huge theme in this story, why do you think forgiving family or friends can be one of the hardest yet most freeing things we could ever do?
I have people in my life right now that are people close to me that have situations where they're not talking and they're estranged and there's no forgiveness. And they say you hurt the people closest to you. And I just think it's something about this family dynamic that makes people be hard, just not willing to give in, not willing to say they're sorry. And then people will, like in the play, Roberta tells Yolanda, "Well, I forgive you." She says, "You think you have, but you haven't. It's all lip service." And a
Mhm.
lot of times people do say they forgive and they don't because they're still feeling some kind of way. And I don't know what it is. The family thing is just a thing with families that it's harder. And I
Mhm.
think because they're so close to you and you know them, for me personally, I like to be free in my spirit. If I have a falling out with a family member or friend, it's going to haunt me and I have to resolve it so that I can be free. And
Yes.
so there is some freeness, and I'll toss the ball to Marlon. She could chime
Mhm.
in on that.
I feel the same way. I'm the type of person. It's like I'm always the first person to forgive because of my spirit. I want to be open. I want to get my blessings. I feel if you're holding on too tight, you don't forgive, you're blocking your blessings. Just let it go. It's hard. You got to pray about it, but you got to say to yourself, I forgive this person. I forgive this person. And I think a lot of times, a lot of people don't want to forgive is because of their pride. And again, with the family, that is a tough thing. That happened to me one time. My sister and I, we had an incident, and it was hard. We didn't really talk for about a month. But for me, my spirit, it kind of tore my spirit up. I was not happy with that. But eventually, we did talk again and we forgave each other and we moved on. But for some people, like Aretha was saying, they hold grudges, especially, you have some people, I'm not talking to my mother. I'm not talking to my sister. I mean, what if something happened? What if they
Right.
died?
Yes.
How you going to feel then? They're
Exactly.
gone. So
Yeah.
you have to open yourself. It doesn't take, it's not an overnight process. You have to think about it. But once you get into it, you say to yourself, I forgive this person. Let me let my pride down and let me get my blessings so I
Mm.
can be open to God.
That's true. That's so true because hard
Mhm.
hearts, carrying that burden, that's only hurting yourself.
Yes.
And it's a practice, and it's a lifelong practice. Um,
Hmm.
and my thing is this: I've adapted, and I believe I heard from God to do this. That when I forgive someone, if that offense comes up and brings me down again after I've forgiven them, guess what? I forgive them again. I just
Yes.
Mm,
Yes. Me
know,
too.
yeah.
that part is scriptural. It's like you just keep forgiving, So that's good. That's good.
It's funny because that scripture we have in the place of Roberta and Yolanda are squatting in that scripture. I think it's Matthew 18:21, or I forget
I think
that one.
Matthew
Sometimes
18, because
yeah, how many times I forget my brother. It's on the wall. It's
yes, it
scribbled on
sure
the
is.
wall.
Yeah.
What is it, 7 times 70 or something to that effect? Yeah.
Yeah, 70
Mhm.
times 70, yeah.
So
And you
that's
have to do that because we're all humans.
yeah.
Because you do forgive the person, but then all of a sudden you start thinking, well, what happened? And you say, shake it off.
Yep.
I
Yep.
forget that person. I forgive that person.
Yeah, and then move on, right? It's about
Yep. Move
moving.
on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But
Mhm.
this is really good for my audience because a lot of the women have suffered childhood trauma. And so forgiveness is something that's key in moving forward in the healing journey. So that's really good. All right, let's talk about tragedy. When I just mentioned, trauma, the characters' lives are shaken by tragedy. And how do you hope the audience reflect on their own ways of coping with loss, grief, or unexpected change?
Well, yeah, so Tim dies unexpectedly, and it shakes up the whole union because these are people who have idyllic existences. They've never experienced anything like that. And it just pulls the carpet from up under them. And I think it's hard. Obviously it's hard for Roberta because it's her husband that passes, but it's hard for Yolanda too because she's now fearing that if God took, and it's a line in the play where if God took Timothy, I was afraid he could take my husband too. And that was an unimaginable thought to her. So they don't really cope well because Roberta becomes so enveloped with the sadness and the grief of it that she just shuts down for the most part, and Yolanda can't handle it. And I think you find that a lot of times in families, especially when you have couples that lose a child, that have a child to die, or even a parent, it's grief really can tear. It can either bring people together or it could tear them apart.
Right.
And
Hmm.
a lot of times it will tear them apart, and so I think people watching this, my hope is that they see the message. My hope is that they see how it has ravaged these people's lives and that they may look at, that they need to get help. They need Roberta, they all need a therapy. They need a therapy in this situation. And I'm hoping that the audience will see that and say to themselves, these people need help. Well, wait a minute. I need help. I'm dealing with the same thing in my life, and maybe I need to go get therapy. So I'm hoping that that's the way people they'll come away with that.
That's great. Yeah. That is really good because grief can it could, like you said, bring people closer together or separate people. I mean, people, if they don't, really deal with the grief and
Mhm.
allow themselves to go through it, but talk to somebody. I know when my mother passed, I can't tell you how long it took me. It seemed like forever. And for some reason, when I think about it, I want to say maybe a whole month that I did one thing every day, and that was to listen to a Donnie McClurkin song, had it on repeat, and would sit whatever I was doing. I just remember having this boom box next to me, and this particular song just was ministering to me, and it helped me to get through that because when my mother passed, I tell you, it was the worst thing I ever experienced in life, you know? It's just like I felt like a part of me was just taken away. But I got through it, and it's important that people do reach out, if it's therapy or just speaking to someone.
Yeah,
Yes.
my condolences about your mom. I lost my mom when I was 14, and she
Oh,
was only 36, yeah.
oh, wow, my condolences to you.
Mhm,
Yeah, my mom, that was
mhm.
back in 2014, I believe. Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
but, yeah, it's hard we never really get over, I think,
right.
losing
Mhm.
a mom. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about you had mentioned earlier Yolanda and Roberta, and that was my mother's middle name, by the way. Ah! Yeah, Roberta. Roberta.
Hmm.
So they had dreams of visiting the pyramids in Egypt. And so, why do you think it's important for people, especially women, to keep their dreams alive, even when life gets messy? Because I can truly say there's been things or in times in my life where I've let some dreams just fall by the wayside because things got messy.
I'll let Marlon answer to start, but answer first.
But say that question one more time. Say it again,
Oh, so
Trina.
I know that Roberta and Yolanda had dreams to
Mhm.
visit the pyramids in Egypt. And it's important, I think, that we fulfill our dreams in life. And so sometimes that doesn't happen. Why do you think it's important, especially for women, to keep their dreams alive, even when life gets
Well,
messy?
as you go through the journey of life, there's a lot of obstacles, but, there's always something in your heart that you always really wanted to do. And Roberta and Yolanda, we have always wanted to go to Egypt since we were little girls. And this was something we always wanted to do. We didn't know when we were going to go, but we knew we were going. And we just kept talking about it a lot, talking about it. And as we got older, going through the challenges of life, that we came back. Remember, we got to go to Egypt. And eventually, we're hoping, I don't want to get too much of the play, and see what happens and see if we go to Egypt. But I always believe if you have a dream personally, myself, well, I guess as an actor, I've always had a dream to be an actor. I guess I really realized it all my life. I just didn't really know how to go about it. And I think when you have that dream, I think you should just keep going for it, keep going. And it's just something that you have to do in your life journey as
Mm.
long as you're living. And when
And I
you just get better and better at it, and hopefully you can move up to better heights and your career can go more. Now, not as an actor, I'm saying for all different type of careers, whatever your dream is, because there's people who might want to be scientists, you know what I mean, nurses, or just helping the community out, helping people. So I think as a dream, it lives in your heart and you achieve it as you go through your life journey of life.
and I think it's important too because when we're ready to move on to our next journey, we leave these bodies and go on to our new, you don't wanna have regrets. You don't wanna say, "Wow, I wanted to do this and I didn't do it."
Yes.
And I think it's important, like, Marlon said, to, do it, step out on faith. And it doesn't matter what age, look at
Mhm.
Marlon and I, we're women of a certain age and we're doing a stage play, you know? So I think you don't let age stop you from doing your dream. Don't ever feel you're too old or it's too late because it's not.
Excellent, ladies. I love that. This is the thing. Yes, keep pursuing. Our passions and gifts were given to us. Our desires, dreams were given to us for a reason. There are so many people that leave this earth, go to the grave, carrying with them those passions, those dreams unfulfilled. That it's yeah, it's just something to really think about, you know? Even when life gets tough, pursue, pursue, pursue. And it's never too late. I mean, I'm a woman of a certain age too. I'm just now doing the things that I love to do. So sometimes it takes time, but hey, we just keep with it. If it's something that is really we feel that we really want to do and it's just a dream, we just keep at it and
'Cause you
fulfill.
know what? Your dream could come at any age. You
Sure.
can be 15 years old.
Oh yeah.
You could be 21. Whatever
Mhm.
age, your dream comes at any age.
Absolutely. So then, let's talk a little bit about healing past wounds. So the characters must face ghosts of the past. How does the storyline mirror the real challenges many people face when trying to heal old hurts? So how does the storyline relate to real challenges in people when they're trying to heal from old hurts, old wounds?
Well, I think there's both women are going through that process. Yolanda, the hurt is that she, introduced her friend to someone that was, misogynist. That comes out early on in the play, and so she's beating herself up and she's feeling guilty about this, that she didn't really vet this person. She didn't really check into this person's background as to who they were. So that's a wound. That's a hurt that she's carrying, that she did this, and then Roberta has a situation of that she was involved with this man that was putting hands on her. So Roberta's walking around knowing that this person is putting hands on her and is not saying anything. And so she's carrying that. So I think both women are carrying these secrets that have turned into wounds,
Okay.
and aren't forgiving themselves,
Mm.
and it's festering. This situation is festering within them. And I'm being very careful about not
Or should
spoiling it. But
right.
Marlon, you could go on and chime in.
My character is still hurt. It's kinda hard for her to forgive. She's getting there. She's getting there, but she's trying to figure it out right now. That's what
Right.
my character is trying to do, just like in real life when people need to forgive. And it was pain for her. It was a hurting feeling for her. It just really changed her whole life, what happened.
Yeah, that's very relatable. A lot of people can
Mhm.
relate, I'm sure.
Yeah, so as a Roberta as the character, she's still working on it. And I
Mhm.
think eventually she is going to forgive. She's still working with it. Her heart is still hurt and she's working on it, just like a lot of other people who are trying to forgive.
Exactly.
And the thing about, I relate to the past wounds. I had a very traumatic childhood, and I was speaking to someone today that has experienced trauma in childhood, and those wounds are still there. I've done work, and I need to do more work because they can be triggered in relationships and other situations. You'll never get over it. The kind of trauma I went through, I'll never get over. It'll never be free of me, but I can learn to cope and manage. So those are wounds that they can heal, but they're not they may leave keloid scars, as if you will. It's not smooth, it's gonna be bumpy, but it can be managed,
Right,
in terms of healing past wounds.
right, right. Some life itself is a balancing act, and this play is described as a dramedy. I know the good word says that laughter is good for the soul. How
Mhm.
blending humor with pain reflect the way many of us navigate life's ups and downs?
Well, that's a
Well,
good question.
it was. Go
Go
ahead,
ahead,
Marla. Go
Alretha.
ahead, Marla. No, I was gonna say it when you talked about the laughter, I couldn't help think about our wonderful audience,
Yeah.
that they were just roaring with laughter and, places, because it was our first time doing the show in front of a full audience. I don't do previews, so we didn't have the luxury of a preview, so it was our first time, and it was just amazing to hear the laughter, and it was great, and it
Mhm.
was healing, and in the laughter, I noticed when the serious parts came, they were ready to receive it,
Mhm.
and because they were disarmed, and they were open, and they were ready to receive it, and they took it in, and that's why it's called a dramedy, because it's gonna make you laugh, and it's gonna make you cry.
That's awesome.
Because both of the characters, we're both kind of funny. We make jokes and stuff, and sometimes you don't even think it's funny, but the audience thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
So we got a
And the
lot of
beauty of
that.
that, when you're in a character, you're in a moment, you're hearing all this laughter, but you tune it out because that's that world. It's 2 separate worlds. It's Roberta Yolanda, well, that's why we have a wall. There's a wall between us and the audience called the fourth wall. So
Mhm.
we're in our world and they're in their world. So when you're in the moment, you don't laugh with them. You stay in character. You block. You don't hear it. You're in your character, but you hear it, but you don't hear it.
Mhm.
And it's a weird dichotomy,
Mhm.
because you stay focused, but it was wonderful to
Yes.
see the audience come along on the ride with us and
Right.
respond to us.
That's
Because
good.
sometimes when I'm acting and I'm watching Alretha, it's kind of funny. You know what I mean? But it's great to have that laughter in there because people want to see happiness, and laughter, right?
That's a
Hmm.
good balance, a good balance.
Yes.
I know we talked a little bit earlier about when we were talking about forgiveness and how that can lead to, especially in families, if there's unforgiveness, it can be a generational thing. Talking about generational patterns, in your view, how can unhealed pain or resentment within families or friendships ripple into future generations if not addressed?
Well, yeah, they can. When I look at the play, I think about the girl that Heather Daughtry, who plays my daughter, and by the way, Al Mint on the floor plays the demolition guy in the play. I'm going to give a shout out to both of them. Heather Daughtry, she plays my daughter, Amy Banks. She's now being impacted by what's going on with Roberta and Yolanda. Her life
Mhm.
has been impacted. She even asked, she says, do you think our lives would be different if you and Roberta had never met or had made that pact? So and then her mother asked her, she says, well, I thought it's like we both had our characters had our daughters at the same time and they
Mhm.
share the same birthday. So we're wanting them to be like us. We're wanting them to be twins, like us. And she's like, we didn't want to be twins.
Yeah,
So a lot of times the neurosis or the situation that's happening with the parent can affect the child. And the cycle has to be broken. I've seen that in my life. I've seen that in other people's lives where there's alcoholism and then it just goes down. There's abuse. A person, a child, a young boy, young girl is watching a parent be abused. They turn around and abuse their mate. So we have to break those cycles. We have to break those, as they say, generational curses. And you do that through doing the work and doing the therapy and getting help so that the young person that's in your life, they don't have to go through that and then repeat it.
absolutely. I 100% agree.
Because
So,
sometimes you can't take things too personal sometimes. I think when I even talk to my daughter sometimes, she might be mad. And I'm like, look, come on, open up a little bit, give that person a little bit of break or something like that.
you just spoke to me, Marlon.
Mhm.
And I needed to hear it.
Yeah. And so I like to do that with my kids. I try to show her that,
Mhm.
and she sees it. 'Cause she said, "Oh, mom, you easy going, da 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 da." Da." It's not that I'm easy going. I just believe and just gotta let it go.
That's
You gotta
right.
move on. You can't just hold on and be hard. And I think if they see you doing that, I think we can help our children, our sons, or whoever.
Absolutely. So this is a play about women. It's a story on stage about women. Why do you all think it's so powerful for the audiences to see women's complex stories like this of friendship and struggle and resilience told through theater?
I think because, women, it's a lot expected of us. We're mothers, we're daughters, we're sisters, we're employees. There was a time in the 50s, when our parents were coming up, a woman was just in the kitchen. She didn't work. She didn't have a lot. But today you have the superwoman. I can't think of a singer that used to sing, I am your superwoman, this whole thing wanting to be
Karen
everything.
White.
So yeah, Karen, yeah, and so in doing Karen what's your name? Karen White?
Karen White.
Uh, Yeah, Karen White. So I just love
Mhm.
that song. So
Yeah.
we wanna be everything to all people, and we wanna try to do it with grace and beauty and our hair right and our nail we're putting on these airs that we got it all together, and I think this play allows people because and that's the one thing I told our characters and the understudies, no makeup, no nails, all
Mhm.
these things that we're raw, and someone said it last night, a person came and stayed
Oh, what she
saw the
saying?
play, she said, "It's raw, it's raw." And so we let it all hang out in this play, and you get to see the emotions, what they open themselves up. The characters are open book. They talk and reveal what's really going on with them and how they really feel, and you see it in their environment and how they look. So it's allowing women, I think this play is telling women it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to let it all hang out. You don't have to have your hair done. You don't have to have your nails done. You don't have to you can let people know I'm not okay today.
Oh, that is
And I'm not looking all right today.
right.
I'm not feeling okay. And so let's talk about it. Let's get help. What's going on with you? And I think it's beautiful that we can do that on stage and give other women permission to say, I'm not okay today and I need help.
That is so good because authenticity, you don't see that anymore, and it's so
Mhm.
good that you guys are bringing that to light. We're almost at the end of this interview. Give us some audience takeaways. When the curtain closes, what do you want the audience to walk away thinking, feeling, doing differently in their own relationships?
Well, the main thing I want people to walk away with is let it go. The T-shirt that Yolanda has on it says "Let go, let God." Let it go. Stop holding the grudges. Stop holding the resentments. Work it out with the person because you're at unease, which causes disease. Let it go. Like
Mhm.
Marlon said earlier, before the person isn't here anymore, and then you're stuck with not being able to give the forgiveness or get the forgiveness. That's one. And then 2, it's okay to be not okay and to get help for it.
Absolutely.
We need seek therapy. It's okay. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Those 2 are like my top 2 things there. And then the other one is don't give up on your dreams. Like Marla said, your brother Yolanda, their dream was to go to see the pyramids. It's never too late to realize your dreams. Those are my 3. What you got, Marla?
I mean, I agree everything that you said. And then also, a lot of women nowadays, we're traveling a lot. So, with the girl trip, I think that's a fun thing to do with your best buddy or your sister or whatever. And again, like you said at the beginning, forgive. Keep working on your forgiveness. Again, let it go. And friendship. And
And
friendship.
Friendship,
How
yeah.
important friendship is, because we
yeah,
all need each other, and it's
you're
great to
Mhm.
find another woman, you guys become good friends and you could talk
absolutely.
to, and I believe, both the ladies that's on this phone call are friends of mine, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
To
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
so everyone, be sure to get your tickets to A Girls Guilt Trip now playing through October 26th at the Hudson Theaters in Los Angeles. How can people contact you guys? And I don't know if you have enough time to say it now, but just make sure you send me your contact information so I can put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
And I just thank you both. This has been a great interview, and I'm looking forward to seeing the play myself tonight.
Yay. Yay.
Having us. Yay. Look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank you, Katrina. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
thank you.